Immigration, it's a problem. It's always been a problem. I was with immigration for 25 years or more, and it was a problem all that time. Whether it was amnesty under Reagan or whatever, it doesn't matter. I mean, you have to have laws, and Congress has to act and create the laws that people on the line, you know, uh, the officers, whether they're Border Patrol or they're ICE or whatever they have to have guidelines and they fulfill and enforce the law. It's just that simple. They're not making moral judgments. They're there to fulfill and do what they can. And sometimes they do have to make a moral judgment. Sometimes they have to say that this is inappropriate, wrong, and, you know, either refuse to take the action or take the action and then report it or whatever mechanism they deem appropriate. But shoving people back in the water and that kind of thing is inhumane. But you have to go over, just like drugs. Drugs has to have a market. If there was no market, there wouldn't be drugs. You don't put all the emphasis on, you know, the people on the border to get the 34,000 pounds of fentanyl and, the tons of marijuana or whatever. That's not the issue. You do that, but you also what? You have to work within your society to reduce the demand. Treatment programs, for one. What's going on? Why is there such a demand for this fentanyl? Why are we doing this? Who's funding it? you know, get after those things. But you got to have money and you got to have resources. And the powers that be, regardless of the administration, do not do that. They don't go after the employers. Why? I mean, there's legal ways to bring people into the country, but for an employer, it's a lot easier, cheaper, and better to pick up some illegals that are hanging out at the 7-Eleven or wherever. So it's much bigger than that in some cases. Some of these construction groups have, you know, big operations of illegals because they save millions of dollars and they base their bids on competitive pricing and then they undercut it by cheap labor. Let's just stop playing games with people and just do what's right. The legislature has to get together, and in this environment, God knows when that'll ever happen. But people, that's what has to happen. It's not a Democratic thing. It's not a Republican thing. It's been done under both administrations. Both parties are just as bad at dealing with immigration issues. Some people make the effort. Most people ignore it, point the fingers somewhere else. But you have to enforce the law. There's many laws on the books inside this country. You don't have to go far. You don't have to, you know, put National Guard on the borders. You just enforce the law within your border, make sure the employers are doing what they should do, and fine them. Not negotiate fines. When I was in the immigration service, there was negotiation for some of these people um, who should be just fined straight up. And no, but they negotiated because that's what they wanted to do. But they shouldn't. It's a done deal. This is the law. You do it, and you obey the law, and you crack down on the people that break the law. And it's not just the people that are crossing the Rio Grande. It's much more. It's much bigger than that. But they won't address that. They won't address the ranchers and the farmers and the manufacturers and the slaughterhouse companies and all that stuff. They won't address that, or they haven't. They should, and that's what it should be. Plus, increase ICE agents. They only have, compared to the number of cops in New York City, it's minimal. They have a whole nation to protect. You've got to fund them, and you have to have, whether it's Mayorkas, Secretary Mayorkas, or whoever. He was when I was in, he was there, and I wasn't too impressed with that gentleman. But not regardless, um, they have little impact. It's a big ship, and it doesn't steer immediately. It takes time. It takes a lot of energy, but it takes commitment and communication on all levels across the board. But especially when Congress has to take the lead. We do have laws already. Start to use them. If you deem them unfair or unfit or unreasonable, change them. But enforce the law the way it is today, and enforce it. Plain and simple. Fund these people, and also shortcut some of the investigations. Some of these things take years, and they shouldn't. It's just a simple, you find one or two, prosecute, do it, turn it around. Immigration courts are totally underfunded, totally undermanned. They need to have money and resources to attend to their needs. And it's that, it would turn this country around if we would only enforce the laws. Stop being hypocrites about this. Stop, regardless of party. It has nothing to do with party. Nobody wants to do it. And I don't care what the right says or the left says. We're a country of laws, enforce the laws we have. But also give the resources to be able to enforce the laws and streamline the court systems. Doesn't have to be kangaroo courts. Doesn't have to be, turn around, kick it. You can respect people's rights, but you don't have to go letting things take 2 years of investigations or hold people in detention for years. You don't have to do that. And certainly you don't go around tearing children from their parents. That horrific policy to so-called deter. That doesn't deter anything. It just causes pain. There's a moral responsibility, and people are not living up to that. They say, okay, well, we just did it. I know Jeff Sessions didn't lose any sleep over it. Neither did Trump. But, I think they should have. It's a horrendous policy. Anyway, that's my little 2 cents on immigration. It can be changed immediately with the right purpose behind it. But the leadership has to show that, has to show it. And it's not just Mayorkas, it's the whole group. It's everybody. They have to get together, top down, and promote the law. And that means enforce the law against employers. It's simple. Now, it's going to cost things. It's going to cost money. But it doesn't have to cost that much money. You can, but they want to get, capitalism is capitalism. They just want to make the money, and don't let immigrants. They're not the saints. People are just people, but they need to be respected as people, dignity given. But treat everybody fairly, and that means enforce the law fairly across the board. Don't just persecute people who are running from horrible situations in other countries. Respect that. Respect the trauma that they're going through. Do what is right. And pretty simple formula, really. Well, thank you for listening on immigration. It's quite simple, quite direct. Do it. period. Thanks for listening. If you subscribe to this channel, um, hit the like button if you like it, and send a link off to anybody that you think maybe might find this of value. Have a great day. Take care.